The director who was working, she got a dress, she ran out, she had written a full-length version with our other songwriters. So you can see it online, and it's really disgusting. And so we did it as like an online extra kind of thing. But we do uncensored versions of the songs for YouTube.
Well, Jonah, MST coming back, it's good. Yeah, shout out to MST coming back. Netflix picked it up after the whole Kickstarter managed to happen, and then Netflix picked it up. So conceivably, you could have done almost anything you wanted to content-wise. But I imagine, MST was always kind of family-friendly, so there was probably a limit to what you wanted to do, reference-wise and language-wise.
It didn't really ever come up. It's the show always was fine and funny enough without having to, drop any F-bombs or fuck-bombs or whatever. But it's and a lot of people have been asking because of the, it being for a newer audience and it being on Netflix, if there's going to be, swears. And like even in the Mystery Science Theater movie, the one they did for This On Earth, they say the S word 3 times in it. And we didn't bother. We didn't feel it necessary ever. Sometimes when you're watching some of these movies, they are so terrible. You do want to just say, "God, this movie fucking sucks." But then Joel will go, "No, man, you got to respect the movie a little bit." And so we didn't really have a need for it in that context. No.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the return. What's interesting is I went on YouTube to watch the trailer and also look at the comments, and this is rare for YouTube. They were positive comments. They weren't racist, and they weren't angry.
Yeah.
But it's actually people like, "I'm really excited for this."
Yeah, I was surprised I wasn't, called as many as YouTube comments go. I was surprised I wasn't seeing a bunch of "this cuck is going to ruin my childhood." People seem to be excited about it, and that's a huge relief, and we'll see.
So talk about sort of the stress of honoring the original, but obviously coming up with a new angle and new stars.
Well, no, there's no new angle. It's still the same show, and that was the biggest. It really is just it's a riffing show. It's it's a puppet show. It really is the same show and with different people. But if you look at the history of the show, there was I'm the third host. There was 2 voices for Crow. There was 3 voices for Tom Servo, 3 or 4 voices for Gypsy. And so the show was always kind of cycled through, and we just wanted to keep the spirit the same, and hopefully that that would translate. And I feel we did that. It doesn't seem to stray too far away from the original at all.
Very cool. We're looking forward to that. And all episodes drop all at once?
April 14th. There are 14 episodes. Don't binge it. That's ridiculous. These are movies. People keep on saying, "I can't wait to binge it." I said, that's over a day of watching something. Don't do it.
Yeah, the rare non-binge.
Yeah, exactly.
So, otherwise, where do you usually stand on binging? All of you, where do you stand on people binging your shows? Do you mind it, or would you prefer that they do the traditional dole it out, savor it?
I like it. It's like with some shows I've done, I like it. I like people to binge them because if there's a bad episode in there, they kind of glaze over it.
Yeah. I'm just happy that they're watching. Please just watch. I'm not in a position to dictate the terms by which they watch. Yeah. As long as they're watching, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, especially with some of your shows, you still do full seasons, binging a season.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Takes some time, yeah. And Marc, when you add end-to-end all the shows that you actually do every year, how are you awake? How are you alive right now?
That's a great question. I don't know. That's a really good question. Well, honestly, it's the writing staffs. I work with incredible writers. Trollhunters, Legends, Ara, they're all remarkably talented, really good people. You can't get it done without them, and they make it possible.
Well, going back to the binging real quick, Raphael, I know, especially BoJack, that's a show that people really do binge immediately, and then they have to wait so long for another season.
I feel bad. Slow down, guys. Take your time. You're not going to get any more for a year until it's done, and then you'll never get any more, ever. So enjoy it. But also, here's the thing about binging, is you watch it all really quick, and then you're done, and you want more, I say just watch it again. Keep binging my show. Don't watch any other shows. You can watch these guys' show too after you've watched my show 3 times. Once you watch all their shows, come back to my show again.
Yeah, try different ways. Put your TV upside down. Watch it again that way.
Yeah, exactly. There's new stuff you pick up on only when you're watching upside down. It doesn't make sense right side up.
But you watch it on a tablet, it keeps rotating.
Yes.
That's another way.
I tried.
Okay.
You gotta walk it down.
Raphael, how does that change how you write a series, knowing that people are pretty much binging it, so they're going to pick up a mention in episode 2 that you make again in episode 3?
Right. Well, I'd say, I mean, the main thing that I think the way our show is presented to the world via Netflix and all at once, more than the fact that people watch it all quickly, I think the fact that people watch it all in order changes the way we write it so much. You know, and that's something I didn't quite realize until we were in the writer's room on season 1, thinking about like, oh, no one's going to pop into episode 6. We have to kind of re-explain who all our characters are and all their relationships are. Like, if you're watching episode 6, you've seen episodes 1 through 5, and that's really allowed us to tell different kinds of stories and to build on stuff that came before and do callbacks and kind of, you know, move forwards through time rather than...
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're doing that, you're not, like, when you're writing a show that's airing, you're getting feedback from, you're hearing from people about what they think and stuff. So you do that completely in You're like, no feedback on the season whatsoever.
Don't care. Don't want it.
Don't
thank you.
want it.
Not interested.
Right.
But we do it when we get feedback from everyone working on the show. I mean, everyone here does. You know, we have... Someone will write a script, everyone on the staff will give notes on it. We'll send it to Netflix. Netflix will have notes. They're our first pair of eyes all the time. You know, the animators have thought, the actors come and go, this is kind of weird. And shut up and say the lines.
Right.
And so, you know, it's not like we're really in a bubble. Like, we are constantly talking about it and getting feedback and figuring it out as we go.
Right. It's just the press and fans part of the conversation that you...
Yeah, but then we see, you know, season to season.
In the season, right? But when you were doing your first season, did it feel like... God, I wonder. Is
this going to lay a big fat egg?
Right, and also, here's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the first
there's
more.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's very scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also, to me, it felt like a very personal show. And so part of me kind of, I'm in constant shock that anyone understands it at all. Because I feel like, no, this is for me, and it's my weirdness and my sense of humor, and how could anyone possibly connect to it?
Right.
So anytime any one person is like, I get it, it's cool, I'm like, oh, okay, good.
Right.
But I'm not assuming anybody will. And a lot of people don't, too. That's part of it also. So that's fun.
But I think it's interesting that you get a chance to sort of like have it be what it's going to be in that kind of, you know, safe space. And also because my nightmare, I did TV early on in my career, and one of the reasons that my nightmare was always to be on a show that people hated, but I still had to work on it.
You gotta keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious for the rest of you guys, or do you take like feedback as you're going? Like, oh, people hate this character, we gotta kill him off. This is not working.
Yeah, that's a good
No.
Never?
I mean, I couldn't even if I wanted to, because, I mean, I'm sure it's true for you guys too, like, you work so far ahead of broadcast that you can't turn the tanker around.
Right.
So if you introduce a character and they hate the character, you're stuck with that character, because by the time you get the feedback, they've already lived with that character for a whole bunch of episodes.
Right.
At least that's mine.
Well, you're all on Twitter, so how aggressive are you in interacting with fans, and what does that do personally to yourself?
Such a weird word.
Very aggressive.
I will say this.
Fans are aggressive. I mean, as all of you know.
I've been dealing with Twitter a whole bunch of different ways over the last 5 years, and you know, I go through periods where I just do what I call tweet in the blind, where I'll tweet but I will not look at my mentions, I will not look at stuff. Recently I did a whole sort of purge of my timeline where I just muted a whole bunch of people, and I'm like, oh, I enjoy Twitter again, this is awesome. You know, so I don't want to like block anyone, because I don't want to give anyone the satisfaction of knowing I read their tweet, you know, accusing me of, you know, being a terrible person or something.
So muting is the best.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know.
It's the best.
They're still tweeting at you so
Exactly.
bad.
They're like, wait till he reads this.
You never will. You'll never know.
That's why it's genius. Like, don't block anyone.
Yeah, just mute everyone.
Mute. And I went like mute crazy one day.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, Twitter's awesome now. Because it was like, oh, just a handful of people who are really being dicks.
Yeah, but if you mute, you still have to resist the urge of looking. You can still look at their tweets.
I did that too. I muted.
Oh, really?
What is he saying about me?
Emotional cut.
Savvy enough. Your problem is you're too technically savvy. I don't know how to do that.
Well, then I went to look and I couldn't find it. So then I unmuted him so I could find it. And then I muted him again. Like, he doesn't even know I unmuted him.
He doesn't know you hurt my feelings.
He has no idea.
You won.
I won that
Tom Helbing told me, who runs Splash, he told me this great story that I actually always try to remind myself of because it's very telling. He was working for another showrunner who shall remain nameless, not because of anything other than I don't think it's a good idea for me to name check him. And the whole week, he had been in this Twitter war with one fan, just really nasty. He comes in on Friday, and he looks ashen. And Tom's like, oh my God, what happened? And he's like, I found out the person I've been fighting with all week is a 10-year-old girl. But it's true, it's like, you don't know who's on the other side of that computer screen.
Yeah.
And I just found it very...
Wait, all week you were fighting? You didn't suspect anything?
No. Some of those 10-year-olds are very clever. Some of those 10-year-olds are very clever. Ambitious.
I'm curious, for those of you who work on something like The Magicians or the DC shows that are based on property that already have their built-in fan base, are those fans particularly vociferous, or do you feel like you owe something to them, or to not betray them, or to be,
We told them pretty early we were going to change some stuff from the books.
Okay.
And luckily, Lev Grossman works with us on the show and is a consultant on the show, and he I think he helped bridge
Guys, cool
the
off,
relationship.
cool,
He's
cool.
like, I'm with you guys, but it's all right. And I mean, our mission statement is that the writers' room are fans of the show, are fans of the books. So we come at it like, we love these books, now how are we going to make this TV show? We consider ourselves representatives of the book fandom.
would this piss me or fan of the book off? If so, let's not do
But
it.
no matter what you do, you're going to piss some fans off.
Yeah.
I think I learned that really well on Supernatural because it has a serious fan base.
Yeah.
They're really passionate about the show, which is
Why
amazing.
haven't the brothers kissed yet? Relax!
They have the right to ask that question.
Yes,
I'm not engaging. I don't know. That's how I treat Twitter. I have kind of rules of engagement, and they do change over time. But I love to tweet thanks for watching.
Yeah, I do
love
that
to
too.
say yes, you'll see her on the show again. If
Yep.
a lot of people. Marley Matlin was recently on our show, and I was stoked to be able to answer people's tweets and say she was coming back. But when people tweet at me to explain plot points or something,
In 140 characters.
explain something that maybe my bad, maybe wasn't even clear in the show, or to defend a choice that we made. I just don't think tweeting directly with a fan is the way to address that.
No, I've done that. It's not, and you're right. It's bad. And so